All right, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. We're going to check out its local search, its city search, and we're going to see if it's got BSS, yes or no. So we're back here at GBC Universe. We all know this. Where we're taking disappearing boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star here is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that in pinned video, home video, somewhere on this profile. And we care about FSIC because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here in white. Highest intent people on the left, those are people searching, boudoir photo shoot in my city, searching that in social search and Google search. And over on the right, the lowest intent people, they ain't searching for boudoir right now, and basically all of them don't even know what boudoir is. So those are where he shows people interruption ads via Facebook, Instagram, things like that. So we're here on the left talking about BSS with the highest intent peeps here in this brand, and our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, is way over on the right. It talks about BLCS, and with that one, we're only currently all in work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS, boudoir search sameness. This means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots, terrible, because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. People, it's page 1 search and done. So we got to be on page 1. And 1 slot, no bueno either, because guess what? That means none of the boudoir photographers, 1 slot for each one. A buyer, we're not standing out at all. A buyer is simply going to click down, all 10, contact all 10, get price growth from all 10, negotiate, bring the price down, basically like suck out all that margin. And, we're going to be price shopped to death. So we cannot have this with our boudoir photography business. Now, even though 0-1 slots is bad, well, terrible actually for the business, it's extremely common, but it's not normal. So it's accepted, but it's not normal. And it's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, as people get new gear, new phone, new camera, throwing up their Google Maps profile, throwing up their website, posting in mom's group saying they do boudoir. So more sellers hitting member buyers makes it harder for each seller. And then the false belief of page 1 equality. That's what boudoir photographers literally assuming, kind of every boudoir photographer gets like 0-1 slots on page 1 on Google. And, if they're on slot 8 on page 1, and some new boudoir photographers entered the market, and they, their website got pushed onto page 2, which now we know is basically death, invisible. Then, people just simply kind of accept it. Be like, yeah, that's how it is. But it's a false belief, because I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google with in only 10 days with this new strategy we developed, this new methodology. And so we know the false belief of page 1 quality is now false, because we know that Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And we also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, because we got 0-1 slots on page 1 of Google. We're either invisible to approximately 80% of searches if we're on page 2 or deeper, or we're getting price shopped to death if we only got 1 slot on page 1. And this boudoir photographer, dude, that's literally the canary in the coal mine, kind of the warning light flashing on our dashboard, where once that happens, eventually, the boudoir photography business is on a path of disappearing as well. But luckily we got a solution, because we now know that BSS is true with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And with S-cubed methodology, it works exactly like the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, highest intent buyer keywords in our city. And when we do that, that's kind of like, it's kind of seeding what we're trying to do. It's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains where, the snow's melting. You had some small streams, small rivers, and then those all flow into the large Amazon River. The large Amazon River is page one of Google. And so we gotta start off strong with saturating social search though. So that get us on page one of Google. But the benefit is we're saturating social search, which means we're saturating page one of social search across all the social networks. Buyers are searching the highest, boudoir buyers are searching the high intent buyer keywords there. So we're saturating literally 5 different kind of surfaces by utilizing S-cubed methodology. And this is the only strategy I've seen that actually allows boudoir photographers to maintain the business even in the face of market saturation and grow the business even in the face of market saturation in a relatively quick time frame to get these results page one on Google, which helps do all that. And the only other second option I've ever seen enable a business to grow in the face of massive market saturation is having a massive, strong brand. But dude, those take like 5 to 10 years to build. We ain't got 5 to 10 years because we're in AI, and AI is literally taking people's jobs. And so we ain't got time to build it, but we ain't got 5 to 10 years. So we got to be using S-cubed methodology. And when we do that, it's the highest chance our business will grow. And my estimate is it'll actually help build a brand 8x faster than normal, if executed every single day. So it's kind of like an accelerator to build a brand as well. So example for market saturation, imagine if we're in, let's say, Indianapolis, Indiana. There's 1 million boudoir photographers, and we're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they do boudoir. And we're like, all right, our only chance to compete here is if we crank up S-cubed methodology to the max, as many page one slots across social search and Google search as we can. So if we do that, we rank for the first 300 slots for all the highest intent keywords for boudoir buyers in our city. And as a result, we actually, those flow, and let's say we get the first 300 slots on Google, which is extremely difficult to do. Let's say we accomplish that. So anytime boudoir buyers looking anywhere on social search or Google search for boudoir photo shoot in their city, then they basically only see us, even though there's literally 1 million competitors. And as a result, whose business is still growing in this market of 1 million boudoir photographers? Ours. And whose businesses is failing and disappearing? All the other 999,999 competitors, because we're taking up the highest intent Google search, closest to the money, highest conversion rate. So yeah, this is why the S-cubed methodology is so magical. Now, one street with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. We're kicking, our initial benefit is we have more slots page one on Google. Our second initial benefit is we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Yeah, so now that we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two, or page one and done Google searches, we can make people, invisible to approximately 80% of the market by literally just kicking them off from page one to page two and making them disappear in boudoir photographers. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where we have our GBC recommended minimum of hitting 3 out of 10 slots page one of Google. Because when we can do that, we're definitely looking way better than everyone else who's probably going to have only one slot. And also, Yeah, the people, there's a very, very rare chance that someone will have two slots, the same search as us. So if we got three slots, I mean, we're dominating everyone. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So this is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality, or the false belief, page one equality. We now have the solution S cubed methodology would become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. And that's caused by us finally achieving page one visibility on our own. Now, I'm going to look at my results here from utilizing S-cube methodology. I wanted to rank for this keyword BLCS boudoir and take as many page one slots as Google as possible. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page one of Google to, we'll count through how many now. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So I'm from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots, page one on Google in 10 days. So we're proving the false belief of page one inequality as exactly that, a false belief, because now we know Google actually give us as many page one slots on Google search as we want, or as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And Google PPC ain't doing that. Max they're giving us is one, I believe, one extra slot on page one, even if, there's extra inventory available. We're only getting one extra slot. And the momentum of those ads dies, that real estate dies once we stop paying for ads. SQ methodology has momentum to it. Not infinite momentum, but it has momentum to it where there's persistence of its existence. Now, all right, main event here. Let's see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its its local search and its city search. Also going to see if it is hitting the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. All right, so we're going to Rancho Cordova, California. All right, so here we go. We're in Rancho Cordova, California. And let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. No, that doesn't count. All right, so we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS for our local search, and we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. We're going to go to our city search now, larger city search, Sacramento, California. Let's check it out here. Let's see. All right, we got one. Boom. Nice. City's always harder than local. So, all right, we got 1 out of 10. And let's see. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 local. So we do still got BSS for that one. All right, so final result, we got so local we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS. City we got 1 out of 10. We also have BSS, and for both, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got boudoir search sameness. You search, locally, and do local search and a city search for the high intent keywords. And you got boudoir search sameness, and you've realized now that page one equality is a false belief, and now we have a methodology to take as many page one slots as we want, depending on how much effort we want to put in. And we actually we see the market saturation, and we see what AI is doing to people's jobs. And as a result, we know that as AI takes more and more people's jobs, the amount of boudoir photographers over time is actually going to increase. Because what happened during COVID? Lots of people lost their jobs, put themselves out there as boudoir photographers, got the website, got the Facebook page, got the Google My Business profile, like a whole big, deluge of boudoir photographers entered the market, pushing a ton of people off page one that have been there for a while. And so you're saying, okay, AI is going to take more people's jobs. It's going to have way more boudoir photographers entering the market. We need to position ourselves, defend our territory, and actually get more territory on page one of Google. So when these boudoir photographers come in, they don't affect our business at all because we'll have so much coverage on page one. They'll be forced to be on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page 2. They stay right on page 1. So we'll be hitting the bulk of the searchers, and we'll actually be pushing off our current competitors off page 1 as well. And so you're seeing at 3, the SQ methodology is the only way to get you there. And you also see kind of the back-end bonuses of using it, we haven't even talked about yet, which are, when we're ranked for these high intent keywords across all social search, and then that pulls into Google search, it creates like thematic keyword pillars of our brand, our name, our account names, our brand, our website, and it increases the probability. We show up here for AI overview for local and city search, increases that probability. It increases the probability we show up for AI search in all AI search positions or apps like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Gemini search. Kind of, it's a back-end benefit because we're having these thematic keyword pillars all around our brand. Where, last time I used ChatGPT search, asked about boudoir photographers in the city, dude, it brought up 3. And that was it. And so, kind of back-end benefits is we're future-proofing the business because more and more people are going to be using AI search and basically kind of dominating social search, flows through to dominating page 1 Google search, which is kind of the canary in the coal mine. If we're increasing the probability, we're ranking on AI search, which would, there's no back end number of how close we are to ranking on it, but all these things that we're doing increases that probability. So we're kind of hitting like 5 different birds with one stone. And also you're noticing that if someone else in your city hops on this first and gets this momentum to all these benefits first, then, well, 1, I cannot work with you because current plan is only work with 1 person per city. And 2, you have to figure out how to do this SQ methodology yourself and all the time to implement it. And you don't even know if you're doing it correctly. So we have our own proprietary methodology. And you'd have to equal our output to maintain against us if we're already working with someone else in the same city. And you'd have to exceed our output to actually make progress on us and all the momentum we would have already made with another boudoir photographer in your current city, to kind of get these thematic keyword pillars attached to our brand. So it's kind of just this big, massive momentum builder for whoever's the first mover boudoir photographer in their city. And we got our final 6 questions here as always. If basically how many slots you think could actually get on page 1 of Google. Remember, this is downstream of already in the top ranked page 1 of social search on all the social search engines. And how many more boudoir clients could that bring for the lifetime of the business, and then how much profit would that generate for the lifetime of the business? And then if someone else went with me first and is it possible you get kicked off page 1 Google search and get relegated to page 2 or page 3? How much would that increase or decrease the probability to get buyers over your business lifetime? How many buyers do you believe you could lose, and how much lifetime profit could you lose? So if you decide SQ methodology is for you, you definitely want it. This is the thing you've been looking for, waiting for. And shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. My DMs are closed right now. Hospital is closed, but when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.